I wish and we're live on Pirate Broadcast. And guess what? We have an amazing guest today. And I just want to highlight a couple of things. You know, if you're following hashtag Pirate Broadcast, you can find these replays easier if you're unable to join early in the morning like it is today. And I just want to wish everyone in the United States happy Veterans Day. If you're a veteran, thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate you and have all the gratitude in the world for those that serve and those that are serving. And also, as we develop this Pirate Broadcast and bring interesting people in doing interesting things, we have an opportunity to have this conversation around it. And so we stream this on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. So if you don't catch it on LinkedIn and you want to catch it on another platform, we make it easy to produce that result. So today we have Shelly, and I'm so excited to talk to you. How are you doing?
I'm great. So excited to be here too.
You just got back from vacation, and I just tell us how it was, and the trip and vacation. Was it a vacation or just a trip out of the office for a little bit?
No, it was a vacation in St. Lucia, beautiful St. Lucia. I had my LinkedIn mug, which I take everywhere I go. And I had a lot of LinkedIn lattes with people who are like, from Canada, from the States, and from like all over the world that were visiting St. Lucia. So I would bring out my mug, and I even had my flip-flops, my LinkedIn flip-flops. And, it started conversation, and that's what I do pretty much every time I go away. And it's fun for me. I just come back feeling so energized and then, connected even like more than I ever thought I could be. So it was a great vacation, rest, relaxation, but some connections made too.
Well, it's interesting to me, and it's so fascinating that how easy it has been over the last couple of years to really develop relationships around the globe as a result of the LinkedIn platform. And just like yourself, I mean, it's easy to start a conversation and talk about, LinkedIn or, talk about the connections you have, or you find out. I was at an event last night, and it's like, have you used Connect on LinkedIn? Have you scanned your code yet? And people don't realize how powerful it can be.
No.
So it's just so, and coming from an advertising and a broadcasting background, it's like years ago it was incredible and difficult to get an engineer to a live broadcast. So it's amazing. So how long have you been on LinkedIn, Shelly?
I've been on LinkedIn since it, started in 2003, but it's been actually my anniversary is coming up in 2020, March 2020. So I will be doing some kind of hoopla and some kind of party. I don't know. I want a party. I want something to happen with all my LinkedIn fam. But it's going to be 10 years that I really took a deep dive and decided that it was something that I was going to, work on and learn about. And I was lucky enough, 10 years ago, I paid a coffee forward at an educational conference because I am a career specialist as well. And I decided that I wanted to take LinkedIn to another level. Ended up paying a coffee forward because I saw this guy with a red jacket and a blue LinkedIn, on the side of his jacket. And I wondered, why doesn't he have a blue jacket? But I said, anyway, I can do that in conversation. So I decided he bought a latte and I paid it forward. I bought him his latte. And then we both agreed that the conference was a little bit on the slow side. We had a coffee, we talked, and he ended up becoming my mentor. And that's how the LinkedIn Latte series came to be. Because of me.
The story behind the story.
Yeah, exactly.
How fascinating. So in this LinkedIn Latte journey, what would you say is the most surprising part of the equation? Is there anything that has surprised you along the journey or really brought an epiphany to you that you can share with us today?
I just think coffee, or whatever you want to put in your mug, really, I think it just brings people together. And then, the power of LinkedIn and the power of coffee and bringing those two together can lead to like real relationship building, because coffee tends to, my idea of having a coffee with somebody or a LinkedIn latte with somebody is just that it gives us the opportunity to slow things down and be relaxed and get to know each other. I'm not there to sell. I'm not there to do anything but to get to know you. So that's how, and that's exactly what happened in Starbucks 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I bring that together, and then with conversation, I get to know you, and that's how the relationships start. And then carrying it online just allows it to develop. I guess it allows it to develop. That's it. Because then I get to see, how do you interact online?
Yeah.
How do you help people online? What is the content that you're sharing? What are you knowledgeable about? How can you help me to learn? How can I help you to learn? So my entire thing around LinkedIn is about learning the art of social reciprocity.
Yeah.
So, often with coffees, the thing is that I take you out one time and then you take me out another time, and there's no real, like, we don't have a time. There's no, it's not going to be like tomorrow or the next day.
There's no scorecard.
There's no scorecard. People
Yeah.
are just doing it because they want to be kind. And if we really want to really truly be successful, and I mean like heartfelt success, if we want to experience heartfelt success, we will learn that art of social reciprocity. And that is why I am on LinkedIn. I am a go-giver, not a go-getter.
Yeah. And the other thing about it is, and this is something that I really truly believe in, is if you have the opportunity to have a conversation long enough with someone, there is always a thread and a connection that you can discover along that conversation, because we're so close. We're much closer than people imagine we are. And so that connection and that conversation is so powerful. And it's easy to do it like this now as compared to 10 years ago. And having coffee and in person just adds another dimension of that intimacy and that knowing somebody, because you can see them, you can have a conversation, you can laugh, you can learn together and just enjoy the moment. And that's so powerful. That's so powerful.
For sure. When I can do it offline, I do it offline. I mean, I don't I definitely have a lot of coffee dates. I don't think I would do like I did last November, and I had 30 coffees in 30 days. I was very caffeinated. But the beauty in having having a coffee chat now is I can have one offline, I can have one online. And the reality of it is that LinkedIn allows me to grow these relationships all over the world. I can honestly say, I was thinking about it not long ago, that I could go to the UK, I could go to Australia, I could go, like, I could just go pretty much anywhere, India, and I would have people that I could meet up with, never met in person, but could actually sit down and feel like, they're part of my family or a friend. And that's pretty, like, I don't know, that just gives me shivers, because it just
blows my mind.
Exactly. It blows my mind that I have all of these relationships all over. And I never feel like, I used to travel and I used to think, okay, what am I going to do when I get there? So if I have a LinkedIn workshop, or I'm doing some kind of speech, or I always used to think, what am I going to do when I get to that place? Like, besides like prepping and stuff, what am I going to do? I don't know anybody. It doesn't even cross my mind now.
That's no longer a problem.
No, like, I'm right on, like, let's meet up. Let's plan in advance. I've been very blessed because I have met quite a few people that I met on LinkedIn. And then I realized, well, it was just like nothing. We all just congregate. We get together, and it's like, wow, we know each other. Like, we know each other. We feel like we know each other from the core, because it developed online. And then we took it offline. So there's a beauty in that as well.
I was at an event last night, and it was in a group of individuals that I'm not typically involved with. And somebody walks up, and because my hat and my glasses are weird, it's kind of noticeable. And she goes, "We're connected on LinkedIn. I just wanted to say hi." It's like, great, hello, how are you? It's like, thank you so much for coming up and saying hello. Then we had a great conversation. It was a great evening, and we ended up, all of us had dinner together. But it's fascinating to me how it's evolved over, because I joined in 2005, so I was a late bloomer compared to you. And so, and it's evolved. A lot of people still believe that are not involved in LinkedIn still believe that it's about job resumes.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
And it is so not that anymore. I mean, obviously recruiting does take place, and it's a different kind of recruiting, and it's just, even in the last 10 years, Shelly, it's been amazing to watch the changes. Like live video is one of those changes that is coming on. Yeah. And some of the little details, the ability to actually do voice memos and some of the things that add to that personal touch is really powerful. And a lot of people still don't recognize or realize that it's even available. So
a lot of people don't want to do a deep dive. And what I've learned is that some people are not going to be open to it being something else, and maybe they don't want it to be something else. And I've decided that I'm totally okay with that. I mean, LinkedIn was never meant to be an online resume. I mean, if you actually did some research and Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn. If you do any type of reading into some of the articles that he has graciously put forward for people to read, it is really evident that right from the get-go, it was never meant to be a cut and paste of your resume. It's always been about networking and building relationships. And yes, recruiters and employers can use LinkedIn. It's so cool that you can use it to find any, somebody from internship level to a CEO on LinkedIn. But it still comes down to, it's not about recruitment as much as it is about seeing the person, seeing their network, seeing who they're connected to, and seeing also like social recognition, like testimonials and recommendations that are on their profile. So the reason that it makes sense for there to be that kind of offering or service on LinkedIn is because the power of what people say about somebody, number one, is really important. If they talk about their services or their products or how they are as a person, very important. And two, the power of introduction, again, is really important. And three, just how you navigate can even tell the employer way more than a resume ever will. So that's why, even though it's a networking site and it's a site to build relationships, and I'll put like quotations around that, end quote, it's still, recruitment is there's so many components of that are important to recruiters and employers, because now it's no longer about just, do you fit the skills and qualifications? Are you the kind of person that I want to hang out with at the water cooler?
And that's so important. That's so important. Speaking of the water cooler, we should probably see who is involved in this conversation today, and maybe highlight some people that are doing something, joining us today, because I think we have some people joining us, and I just wanted to check it out. So Maureen, Vicky, Matthew, Lori,
wow. My LinkedIn fam,
Tapas, everybody that is joining us and everybody that has been here or listens to the replay, I just want to extend a moment of gratitude for you and thank you so much. We're visiting Shelly, who's been on LinkedIn since the beginning and just helped so many people. You help so many people out, and I just love your articles and the things that you share, and I love watching the interaction that you have and the love and kindness that you extend to the community. So hats off, gratitude. I love you.
Thank you.
So, it's awesome. And so I just want to recognize the fact that, it's not about the tool. It's not about the platform as much as about the individual. And I think that, we understand that, we are who we are. And I love the idea and the opportunity to highlight other people. because I think,
Mhm.
if I can help the people around me, then my life is improving, right? And that's kind of my philosophy is extend a kindness to somebody, and it's just, makes two smiles, right? Smiles are
Exactly.
three.
And I mean, I think that that's what success, inner success is really about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I wasn't able to impact people and in my own little way,
Uh-huh.
I don't think that I would be on this platform because that's really what it comes down to for me. It always has been, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, once I learned about it and learned what I could do with it, then I never looked back. Like it became a tool for me to empower people. Yeah, and that comes from, a story way back when too, but my own personal story and
Mhm.
having LinkedIn allow me to get my voice back. And then it became my mission because I felt that it was a gift for me.
Yeah.
And that way I could help empower other people to find their voice. And so many have. And every day I get on, there's somebody that is starting. Somebody is starting to write. Somebody is starting to comment. Somebody is starting to build their story. And it's that when that happens, that's when the magic happens.
Oh, and we all have a gift to share, and I applaud those that take the initiative and the courage to actually begin that journey and start sharing it, because it's a safe place. I mean, to be able to use bite-sized pieces and, post little comments and start venturing out, and you get some feedback, and you can build a community around what you're doing and what you believe in. And it's not it doesn't take as much time as one would think, because you can really grow, a lot of connections and have a lot of good conversations if you want to put some time into it. And it does take time. I'm not going to lie. I
Absolutely.
could literally, if I don't moderate myself, I could be on LinkedIn all day long. It's just like, I think you probably can understand and appreciate that. So
Well, it can be addictive. We just have to
yeah,
power over those feelings.
just kind of moderate that a little bit. So now, talking a little bit about the other side of the equation, there's been a lot of changes in LinkedIn recently. There's been a lot of updates over the last, I would say, year, 2 years. And are there any, like the tool on the mobile phone, they moved the around me, who's around me, and the networking is changing a little bit. And also you can actually record video for response and comments and a few things like that. Are there any big changes that you have just really thoroughly just said, this is what I've been waiting for, or
I
this
think,
this
I mean,
helped me so much?
there's always changes on LinkedIn. I mean, I like LinkedIn. I guess it depends on who you are,
Mhm,
right? Like I like LinkedIn video, but I don't use it a lot. I
mhm.
have to dabble in it. I like the voicemail, but I forget about it. I think I've just been so used to like sending messages, and then I think, wow, it would be nice to send, because when I receive them, I'm really happy.
Yeah,
Um, in terms of I started to use the QR code because a lot of people don't even realize we have one, but it's a lot easier, especially when it's one-on-one.
yeah,
When I'm in a group, I always use Find Nearby, but when I'm not, I, use the QR code. And it was something that I knew about, but there's so many things that you just have to find out what works for you and then kind of dabble in it and see if it's you or it's not you. But
yeah,
you have to be really aware of the changes. Like there are a lot of changes that have come about in groups and in company pages.
yeah.
So for the people who are using their own profiles the most, like I do,
Mhm.
um, I tend not to like dabble as much in my company page. I
Yeah,
built my company page for my logo. I built my company page for credibility. But because of what I do, I don't tend to dabble in that on that page because of the nature of what I'm trying to accomplish on LinkedIn. So it's
right.
better for me actually, much more productive for me to be speaking to people from my own page, from my own story. However, for any entrepreneurs and for new business owners, eh, they should really be taking a look at the company page now, because there have been a lot of changes and a lot of things that you can do that you couldn't do before, and which will make it a lot more interactive with your clients or with potential clients. And so I see that there's even going to be more changes around that. So I would definitely, if, and I work a lot with entrepreneurs, so it would be something that I would definitely take a look at. Even if you didn't think that it worked before, it might work more for you now, and start getting your brand out there, because it is one place that is free, but one place that can help connect your like your own website or your own blog, and it's another place for the internal algorithm to work for you. So that's just a little thing that I would highly recommend.
I saw a post about that the other day, and I thought, okay, yeah, especially if you're doing consistent content, if you can actually post that and reshare that on your company page, I could see where that could really bring a lot of value to the
Yeah, and you
company
don't
page.
have to reinvent the wheel. Like everybody
No.
thinks they have to reinvent the wheel on LinkedIn. LinkedIn was meant to give you the platform and the people. But if you already have something that's working for you, just use LinkedIn to help you elevate it. So if
Yeah,
you've already been doing a blog, just take the blog,
yeah,
recreate it a little bit to make sure that it works for the audience that you're trying to attract on LinkedIn. Most of the time it's the same audience, and then just take it and just highlight where it originally came from, and put your post out there. But it can just allow you to broaden your audience, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and the feed is, evolving and always changing and stuff. So depending on where you put your content and how you share it, publishing an article, or
Mhm.
putting it in your feed, or testing different things is always a good practice. I mean, it's going back to the idea that it's just a tool. It's just you kind of have to experiment with it and say, okay, well, they're changing things, so I need to pay attention, because
Yeah, and I think like people get scared of that, right? Like they get scared
Mm,
of, is it too much? Am I the right one to be doing this? Am I, putting out too much content? Is it the right content? Is there somebody better? And that all comes down to imposter syndrome, which really exists on LinkedIn. It's
yeah,
unfortunate, but it does.
yeah,
And I think the only way to get through it is to just work through it and realize that every expert was once a beginner, and
yeah,
you just continue to go through it and
yeah.
connect with like-minded people, and then they're going to help you to walk through it as well, because the support on LinkedIn can be, once you establish those relationships, the support can be,
It's so
it's
funny.
incredible.
Yeah. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I tell people, hey, you're standing in line for groceries. It's like there's someone in front of you and there's someone behind you. And that's all it is. It's just someone in front of you and someone behind you. Be
Yeah.
where you are. You have your own groceries to deal with. It's like,
Exactly.
just get your groceries and move forward.
Yeah.
Because it's so important to recognize, and it goes back to my thought process with, everybody has a gift. And until you have the ability and opportunity to share that gift, you know it's like so interesting when you find something that you're really, you can be passionate about, and you find an interest in, and time disappears when you're involved in it. It's really amazing when that takes place. So I encourage people to experiment, go explore. It might be video, it might be words, audio, video, images, whatever it happens to be. Discover what works for you, and just accepts who you are, and amplifies what you can bring to the table, because it's it's just so amazing. I just can't get over the fact that it's so amazing that we can share this stuff every
It's so
day.
amazing. And too, a lot of people still get caught up in the comparison game, as they do
Yeah,
offline as well. And it's easy to get caught up in that.
yeah,
But um, we all start somewhere, and
yeah,
it's like anything. It's not about where other people are. It's where we are at the moment. And
yeah,
just keep your eye on the prize.
yeah,
About digital currency. Like I really think about that all the time and what that means. So digital currency comes from, you know, building the relationships, building the trust, building the support, building the community, building it to the point where you have this hashtag LinkedIn fam,
Yeah.
right? That's your digital currency, which is always working for you. Like it's always working for you, but it's not, it's it works in a very like ongoing, and it has to be a consistent process. And instead of thinking about the, you know, and I made a comment about this when I was in St. Lucia, but the gold at the end of the rainbow, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted that
Yeah.
gold because everybody said there was gold there. So why
Yeah.
not go after it? But of course, I would never
That's a
get
great post, by the way.
there. I would never get there. So the idea is never stop thinking about the end, but think about like the process, because when we stop thinking about the end, we engage more with what's going on in the moment,
Yeah.
and that's what starts to impact us, and that's what moves us forward, and that's how relationships are built. And at the end of the day, everything will boil down to trust. So success on LinkedIn will always boil down to trust.
And it happens one conversation at a time.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's so funny that you know, when I find joy in the journey and less about the destination, because in my experience, and you know, it's always been, you know, you imagine what the end result is going to be, and inevitably there have been occasions where I've made it to the destination, and it's like you look around and you're thinking, why did I want to be here? It's like, this is ridiculous. I enjoyed the journey much more than the destination. So I just want to go back on the journey. So it's like, okay, keep looking at what you're doing, and progress every day is really important. You know, don't get discouraged over the things that you see other people doing because you're not doing it. Think about what you can do right now in order to accomplish your goal and your mission and your objective, because it's, you know, like I said, it's one conversation away, and it's so important to, you know, just like we're doing here. You know, we connected over a year ago, and it's this thing that you go back and forth and you make comments, and you know, you allow yourself the opportunity to breathe in this conversation. And it's just so important for people to to just realize that they have their journey, they have everything is right where it needs to be. You know, it's right
Yeah.
where it needs to be. And so just enjoy it, and enjoy the journey. So
Enjoy it and don't get caught up. Like one thing that I've had to, you know, I would say one of the hurdles is to realize that not everybody's going to want to have a LinkedIn latte. Not everybody.
no, no.
Okay. And not everybody's going to want to, or not everybody's going to like you, or not everybody's going to like your style.
Yeah,
And it's a hard thing to swallow, because our nature as humans is to want everybody to like us,
yeah,
and but in reality that's not the case.
yeah,
So I carry that every day, so I think about that every day,
yeah.
so I don't get caught up in it. So if I'm on vacation and I say, hey, let's have a LinkedIn latte and post it on LinkedIn, and then I have, you know, the people who are like totally into it,
Yeah,
and they can't wait to do that because it shows a part of their personality. And then I
yeah.
had, you know, I had a couple of people that said, no, why would we do that? We wouldn't put a LinkedIn latte on LinkedIn. Like that's a job. And, you know, I, at first, you know, there's that little ting, like, why wouldn't they want to have a LinkedIn latte with me? I even have my mug. I even brought
Yeah.
mugs to share, right? But then I'm quick.
You can't take it personally. You can't.
No, I had that little ting of
Yeah,
like, why wouldn't they want to have a LinkedIn latte? Come on, people. But then quickly after, I think, okay,
yeah,
maybe they don't want to. Maybe it's not their style. Maybe they're not there yet. Maybe they never will be. And that's okay. And then quickly I move on.
yeah. It's
And
not about you. It's not
yeah,
about you, Shelly. It's about them.
exactly. It's not about me. So I had that little ting because I am human.
Yeah, yeah,
But then I move on and I find my next person who's going to enjoy the LinkedIn latte, and I take it all in and I enjoy it. And I've learned that along the way, but it is hard for some people. I realize
it
that
is
it's
hard.
hard for people because they want to be so liked
Yeah,
offline, and then they want to be online. Some people don't realize that online behind our LinkedIn profiles,
Yeah.
just a bunch of people with
It's just
like
people.
flaws and imperfections
I just have to
and
like myself. That's
yeah,
what I
and
have to like.
strengths
I
and
like-
knowledge, and like we're just a bunch of wonderful people,
Yeah.
and we all have things to offer, but we all have things that, we're humans.
Yeah.
So
We're all
it's
human.
interesting, but I don't think everybody catches that behind. And what's most important about LinkedIn is it's never about the title. It's always about who you are behind the title.
Yeah.
So I think when we get away from taking the title and trying to be that title,
Yeah.
we become more human. And in 2017, I remember that hashtag coming out, hashtag LinkedIn human. And
Yeah.
now anytime I do a workshop or a talk, I
Yeah.
talk about that.
That's brilliant. That's
It
brilliant.
is so
I
powerful.
really appreciate the hashtags, and some of the personalities behind the hashtags and what you can see and what you can understand by the reaction and the response of those hashtags in the
Mhm.
feeds. It's always amazing to me to do that. So what's going on in Shelly's future? What do you see in LinkedIn? Do you see more of the growing and expansion of the LinkedIn lattes and some of the kindness and connections that are taking place and so what do you enjoy about the possibility of the future? You mentioned next spring you might be doing something in somewhere.
So I'm going to expand the LinkedIn latte.
Okay.
Serious? Of course, it's going to come from me. No, I'm hoping to do something big in January, so
Okay.
everybody can kind of watch out for that. It's going to be around a whole
On your
LinkedIn latte
calendar, folks.
series. Around the LinkedIn latte series, and so I will be reaching out to my LinkedIn folks, and hopefully building something around that. I won't say too much now, but
Okay.
there will be,
We
I
just have
guess,
to tease people. That's all I do. So,
yeah, there'll be a post in December, but just let's get the coffee out or
yeah.
whatever you want to put in the mug, and let's have fun with that. So that'll be in January. In March, I will be in Chicago with the No Longer Virtual Conference, and I'll be doing a workshop with Zach Messier on the power of LinkedIn. So looking forward to that, and a lot of speaking engagements coming up, and just lots of LinkedIn love sharing.
Nice.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. I just really have all the appreciation in the world for what you're doing, and I smile every time I see your posts, and I just appreciate all the things you're doing to help others around you. And I just
Thank
wanted to
you.
make sure that we had the opportunity to share, with as many people as we can, and that's the whole purpose of the pirate broadcast. Is like we don't have to. There's no rules here. We can do what we want. We can talk about what we want. We can share what we want, and it's really about bringing people together and having an opportunity to just start the conversation.
Mhm.
So it's like the LinkedIn lattes. If we got some lattes here, we can have some lattes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
boom, there you go.
Boom.
So thank you so much, Shelly, for being here. I really appreciate it. I know you have a big day and you're getting ready to get back into the swing of life and everything else from vacation, and I could talk for much longer. However, I want to be respectful of your time and everybody that's joined us. And I just want to give a shout out to Jeff Young, Matthew, Tapas, all of these people, Sherry Lanny, Nick, we've got quite a few people in the room now, and Kristen Sherry, thank you
Oh,
so much. I will return your comments. I will respond to your comments today. That's my mission in life is to interact. And thank you so much for being here, Shelly. And I just thank you so much for everybody being here. And this is the Pirate Broadcast, and kindness is cool. Miles are free, and you enjoy the day.
thank you. Kindness is cool.
Kindness is cool.